Madam Speaker, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all on the Ministry of Waterways. Madam Speaker, in keeping up with the changing global trends in the water sector, issues of climate change and taking into account other national policy reforms, our Honourable Prime Minister last year created a new ministry, the Ministry of Waterways. Announcement of this was made during the 2017-18 budget address by Honourable Minister of Economy, Honourable Syed Qayyum, along with financial appropriations. Madam Speaker, the Ministry is tasked to set out the future direction for the waterways sector in achieving sustainable development and management of the nation's water resources for economy-wide benefits and an increase in the availability of water supply and sanitation services. Madam Speaker, to achieve this, we are tasked to manage our waterways. Waterways have implications for all water-using key sectors of the economy, such as the households, agriculture, energy, industry, livestock, mining, environment, tourism, and fisheries. Madam Speaker, the term waterways refers to any river, creek, stream, floodplain, or estuary which exists naturally, as well as canals and drains which are constructed by humans. Madam Speaker, man-made waterways are found in both urban and rural areas. These are any water bodies in the urban environment, including natural features and those constructed as part of the drainage system. Open unlined drainage canals, closed pipes, and concrete pipes are also included in urban waterways. Madam Speaker, unsatisfactory development of the water sector has revolved around inadequate understanding and appreciation of the central role waterways plays in key sectors of the economy. The vulnerability of the economy to climate variability, lack of clarity with regard to the institutional framework for water resource development and management, inadequate, inequitable provision of services, and insufficient financing. Madam Speaker, through the Ministry of Waterways, the urgent actions on land degradation, water catchments, and the protection of marine lakes, rivers, and dams and environment provide important guidance for the implementation of comprehensive and prioritized water conservation and environmental protection measures. Madam Speaker, the strategic focus of the Ministry on specific roles of various sectors through clearly defining roles and responsibilities will ensure fair play among the various actors and sectors. Madam Speaker, Waterways Ministry will endeavour to address cross-sectional interests in water, watershed management, and participatory integrated approaches in water resources planning, development, and management. Furthermore, it will lay a foundation for sustainable development of the country by mitigating any negative impact of downstream waterways, at the same time leveraging waterways to support downstream industries. Madam Speaker, water is a shared common resource fundamental to life and sustaining the environment and plays a central role in the social and economic development of Fiji. It touches all spheres of life, including domestic, agriculture, livestock, fisheries, wildlife, industry, energy, recreation, and other cultural and social economic activities. Madam Speaker, water is vital for sustainable socio-economic development as a strategic primary input in a pivotal role in poverty alleviation through enhancing food security, domestic hygiene security, hydropower, industrial development, mining, navigation, and the environment for sustainable ecosystems. Availability of adequate water supply of good quality reduces time spent on fetching water, increases health services, and ensures a favorable environment for increased children's school attendance. Use of contaminated water poses health risks to the population, as evidenced by the prevalence of waterborne diseases such as diarrhea and cholera. It is for this reason, Madam Speaker, that SDG 6 of the 17 goals clearly stipulates, and I quote, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all, unquote. It is against this background that Waterways Ministry will work closely with other ministries and statutory bodies like the Water Authority of Fiji to ensure we provide maximum support to Fiji's growth and development. Madam Speaker, At both local and global levels, sustainable growth calls for the protection of existing water resources and the development of new resources because they are vital input to the nation's productive sectors. Madam Speaker, as alluded to earlier on, households derive water from our waterways for their consumption. Water resources in big and small rivers, the lakes and groundwater, are being exploited for agriculture production and development. Renewable energy projects such as hydroelectricity projects are also linked to our waterways, and so are small-scale transportation systems amongst the rural and interior community. Madam Speaker, rural and interior communities' lifestyles are also linked to waterways to the extent that some even derive the basic food from our waterways. As with land, water is a public asset with access controlled by rights to use, both formal and customary rights. Water supply, both quality and quantity, is influenced by the management of land. Water resource management is also influenced by the range of legislation and regulations affecting land. Madam Speaker, water availability is a function of variations in climatic conditions. High temporal and spatial variability in rainfall has resulted in endemic drought in some parts of the country and occasional floods in other parts, and has far-reaching consequences on water resource management. High variability in flows in the river poses very difficult conditions for managing large agricultural production, as well as other activities such as providing a steady stream of water to households. It has also disrupted hydroelectricity projects, Madam Speaker, in Fiji. Madam Speaker, you would also note from time to time unplanned settlements and human activities in rural areas which are contributing to significant environmental degradation, social erosion, and pollution of streams, all of which impact on downstream and in-stream water users. These settlements, both in rural and urban peri-urban areas, also create unplanned water demands that can impact other users. However, discourse on and attention to deeper causes of these disruptions, the importance of protecting our waterways never took off, Madam Speaker, with little concern that was generated during this period subsiding after waterways started to flow again. Neither, Madam Speaker, do we have a comprehensive national waterways policy and a comprehensive waterways legislation to address these issues. Madam Speaker, we intend to kickstart off this discourse on 22nd of March, which is UN dedicated World Water Day, with the theme this year as Nature for Water. Madam Speaker, at the global level, United Nations is arguing that we have a major crisis with regard to water shortage looming ahead of us against the backdrop of climate change. In the 2018 report titled Humanitarian Action for Children, the UN notes that 1 in 4 of the world's children will be living in areas with extremely limited water resource by 2040 as a result of climate change. Madam Speaker, the report further notes that within 2 decades, 600 million children will be in regions enduring extreme water stress with a great deal of competition for available supply. The poorest and most disadvantaged will suffer most, thus further contributing to spatial inequality. Madam Speaker, the African region in particular is under major spotlight by the UN. A 2017 UNICEF report titled Thirsting for the Future, Water and Children in a Changing Climate looked at the threats to children's lives and well-being caused by depleted sources of water and the way in which climate change will intensify these risks. The report notes that where demand is extremely high, then water stress will increase. The report further states that drought conditions and conflicts are driving deadly water scarcity in parts of Ethiopia, Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, and Yemen. Madam Speaker, UNICEF anticipates that more than 9 million people will be without safe drinking water this year in Ethiopia alone, while nearly 1.4 million children face imminent risk of death from acute malnutrition in South Sudan, Nigeria, Somalia, and Yemen. Madam Speaker, noting the gravity of the water problem, South Africa's wealthiest city, Cape Town city leaders have declared 16th April as day zero. This is the day when the city's water supply will be turned off until the rain arrives, leaving residents to line up for water rations at one of the 200 points across the city, Madam Speaker. That is the level of seriousness they are giving to this issue. Madam Speaker, entire water system will be shut down and they will be rationing water to the residents of this wealthiest city in South Africa. Madam Speaker, the city's predicament is not only due to lack of adequate rainfall over the last 3 years, but also due to poor planning. While the city's population since 1995 grew by 79%, water shortage only increased by 15%. Madam Speaker, water storage only increased by 15%. So you can see a major mismatch between demand and supply, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Middle East region is also facing severe problems with the water sector, with Iran facing a water crisis that is unparalleled in its modern history. Madam Speaker, the impact of climate change on water sources is not inevitable. We need to act now. So far, I don't think we have had any major discourse on the importance of our waterways and what we should do to protect it, not only for the benefit of our current generation, but also to ensure that future generations can also benefit from water that we derive from the various waterways that we have in Fiji, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we cannot continue in this manner. Madam Speaker, given the above, the Ministry of Waterways was created to oversee all waterways-related issues. In doing so, the new ministry has taken over Land and Water Resource Management Division of the Ministry of Agriculture and the Regional Drainage Board with a much larger mandate. With this establishment, Madam Speaker, our fully fledged ministry scope has widened drastically, not only in terms of geographical coverage, but also in terms of activities and responsibilities. Madam Speaker, the ministry now will do the following. It will have a direct oversight of all waterways in Fiji. It will ensure large rivers and tributaries are maintained so that it does not pose any threat to communities, households, and settlements from flooding. Work on this will include dredging of inland rivers, river widening and realignment, and construction of flood mitigation dams and detention ponds. Madam Speaker, river dredging is by far the largest single flood mitigation project undertaken in the country. It has proven to be a sound investment in disaster mitigation, reducing the impact of flooding. Properly maintained rivers and drainage networks reduces frequency and intensity of floods. Thus reduces flood damage and brings more land under production and brings in investor confidence for potential developments and economic activity. Madam Speaker, the following major rivers had been dredged so far: Rewa River, Nagua River, Nandian River, Ba River, Lambasa and Gawa and Wailevu River, and Singatoka, we have finished the first phase. Madam Speaker, the following rivers are planned for this financial year, the remaining 4 months: Singatoka River second phase, and the Penang River, which tenders have been just closed. Madam Speaker, we will continue to maintain the designated irrigation schemes, most of which are under RISE. This includes the Nabwa irrigation scheme, the Breketi irrigation scheme, Nasarwanga irrigation scheme, Korkandi irrigation scheme, Droda irrigation scheme, Naruwai irrigation scheme, and the Winibau Bua irrigation scheme. Madam Speaker, we will continue to maintain the designated drainage schemes. There are 92 drainage schemes that were developed in 1970s and 1980s to make unproductive land in coastal areas and waterlogged areas for productive use for agriculture production. Increase in population and demand for good available land for sugarcane productive pressured farmers and authorities to issue land leases for cultivation in sloping lands for agriculture, sugarcane production, which affected soil erosion issues and siltation of waterways. Fiji's topography, Madam Speaker, and landscape is such that a lot of good land and productive lands are located along coastal areas. These areas are frequently subjected to seawater intrusion and are prone to flooding as well. Seawalls, tidal gates, structures, and drainage system networks were developed to protect these areas and to sustain for agriculture productive activities. The operation and maintenance of these drainage schemes are being undertaken by the ministry via the various drainage boards. Madam Speaker, previously the drainage boards used to levy on farmers to pay for the drainage work. Madam Speaker, no more of these are happening now. The Honourable Minister for Economy 2 years ago removed all the levies on farmers, and government has started to provide grant to the drainage board, both operating and capital, to undertake all the drainage maintenance work. Madam Speaker, we are now, from this financial year, the Ministry of Economy has also provided a grant of 1.3 million that we were using to provide to the municipal councils to undertake drainage work within the municipal boundaries. Madam Speaker, this is a small amount for the beginning for this year. We will assess the full requirement and then make appropriate budgetary submission for the following year. Madam Speaker, of the 11 municipal councils, some are making good progress, while a large number of them have not utilized the grant today. We intend to meet them to discuss the bottlenecks so that we could quickly address some of these drainage issues within the boundaries immediately. Madam Speaker, again, for the first time ever, government has provided for a grant of $2 million to address the issue of drainage in waterlogged farms in the sugar industry. Madam Speaker, we also note that the Cane Producers Association is also providing grant to farmers to assist in drainage provision for waterlogged farms on a 50-50 cost-sharing basis. Madam Speaker, our PS has discussed with the Cane Producers Association so that our ministry can pick up the farmers' share of 50% and we utilize the other 50% of the Cane Producers Association to expand our program to the full sugar industry related farms in the sugar industry. Madam Speaker, we will also assist in provision of proper drainage in villages and settlements, up to date, all the villages, village drains, etc. were not looked after by anybody. Where now our mandate also requires that we address the issue of any village or settlement they may have regarding drainage. Urgent ones with small expenditure outlay will be attended to over the next 3 months, while major projects will be factored into the next budget. Madam Speaker, we will also assist and protect coastal communities from dangers of coastal erosion and saltwater intrusion. This will require a major Fiji-wide assessment which will be undertaken this year, and external assistance will be sought. Madam Speaker, the Ministry will work very closely with the Water Authority of Fiji and to ensure waterways are protected and maintained so that safe and uninterrupted drinking water is accessible to its reservoirs for its reticulate system. Madam Speaker, I alluded to earlier on that we have so far taken for granted water from waterways, Madam Speaker, without dealing or addressing how we can protect the waterways so that good quality water comes into a reticulation system, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Ministry's mandate covers urban and rural communities. In its work to improve stormwater management, mitigate flooding and improve irrigation, the Ministry will incorporate aspects of hydrological forecasting, drainage surveillance, realignment, waterway dredging and river embankment management. Madam Speaker, there are settlements, schools, villages, agricultural farms and roads which are in danger of being swept away due to river bank erosion, Madam Speaker. Nakai Congo River, Bunibau Nagua River, Batua and Ba River, Madam Speaker, you name it, Madam Speaker. There are settlements beside these rivers. There are villages beside the rivers. There are roads going beside the rivers. And these rivers are being washed away, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, there are coastal communities whose villages are being threatened by saltwater intrusion as the sea level is rising. We need to urgently take stock of these areas, undertake detailed engineering scoping of these, and seek major external support to prevent any further loss. Following this Parliament sitting, Madam Speaker, our Ministry will call for submission from Fiji-wide and then map out a long-term strategy to deal with the issues. We cannot be reactive in nature to a problem which is increasing in scope, it's quite widespread and is becoming a threat to our livelihood. We have to develop a comprehensive database and seek external support, not only financial but also technical, Madam Speaker. This is no small task, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we're also looking at how we could manage our watershed, Madam Speaker. All the water that comes into the waterways and then into the water reticulation system is collected at our watersheds, Madam Speaker. We are now working very closely with our partner ministries to ensure how we can collectively, holistically get together and manage our watersheds so that our waterways get appropriate amount of water, which can then be utilized for the households, for the agriculture sector, and for various other activities such as hydro dams, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have some very challenging and exciting times ahead of us, and we intend to engage some of the best and brightest minds in this technical area of waterways, hydrology and water engineering to protect our waterways for future generations. Madam Speaker, I'm blessed to be appointed to head this ministry at such a crucial stage of its establishment, and I wish to assure you, Madam Speaker, that I'll give all my best to deal with the above outlined issues going forward, Madam Speaker. And Speaker, thank you very much for listening.